ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden. In today's video, we have another good, bad, and ugly. Today, it's on the Dodge Dart GT, or does Dodge Dart. It is the new Dodge Dart. I know that they made the Dodge Darts back in the 60s and 70s, and those are really cool cars. Freaking love them. But we're talking about the newer ones, the 2015. Well, we'll go over the years and all that stuff. You're gonna know what I'm talking about. Some guy said he wanted to see this. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I'm not the biggest like Dodge Dart fan, so I wasn't like wasn't really inclined before making this video of any of the facts on the. I don't know what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is I didn't know shit about the Dodge Dart before starting to make this video. So if I make some mistakes, I am sorry, but I tried my best to do as much research as possible on this car. And the way that these vids work, in case you're new here, is first I go over the history of the car, just things about it, like trim levels, years made, the generation, all that stuff. Then I go over into what the community does. What does the car community do? Do they drift it? Do they stance it? Do they drag race it? What do they do? Then I finally get into the good, the bad, and the ugly, which are just, we'll talk about those when we get there. And then at the end of the video, I tell you whether or not I think you should buy this car, depending on the current situation that you are in. And without further ado, let's go right into the video. All right, so Dodge Dart, here we are, the Dodge Fart, the Fodge Fart. First up, the years made and the generation of the car. Well, it was made from 2013 to 2016, and it is the 4th generation of the Dodge Dart, which I didn't know. I thought it was just the 2nd generation, if I'm being honest. I did not know they made 4 of these puppies, but that's really cool. As for the trim levels, there's a lot of them, so bear with me here. GT, SC, SXT, Turbo, Aero, Limited, and the GT Sport engines all are the same thing. A 1.4 liter turbocharged inline 4 that makes 160 horsepower, a 2 liter inline 4 making 160 horsepower, and a 2.4 liter inline 4 making 184 horsepower. So they have these different options for you, but most of them are pretty much the same thing. The only difference is the motor is slightly different and makes slightly more power. If you're wondering like, oh, what's the best motor to go with for making insane power, I don't know. I really don't. I don't think many of these cars can make insane power, but if I were to guess, I would probably have to say the 2.4 liter inline 4. The 1.4 liter turbo, it does sound appealing with the turbo because obviously turbo cars usually have stronger internals, but it's only 1.4 liter. How much power are you going to get out of it? Look at things like the Mini Cooper S, you know, that had a small displacement, but it had a supercharger, but it became incredibly unreliable once you started modifying it because the displacement was so small, it couldn't handle it. So I would go with the 2.4 liter inline 4. You're probably going to have to force some induction in there, and that way you can make some power. Either way, the car's body styles, it is only a sedan. There's no coupe or convertible options, so sorry if you wanted one of those. So drivetrains, front wheel drive only, partner. You're not getting no all wheel drive Dodge Dart. You're not getting no rear wheel drive Dodge Dart. Not this generation at least, because it's the 21st century, baby. We're going away from rear wheel drive because we like to be boring. Next up for the transmissions, automatic and manuals options are available. Of course, the price it's obviously a used car at this point, but you can find them on Facebook Marketplace anywhere from like $3,000 to $7,000. They really aren't the most expensive cars out there. They're appreciated pretty fast. The community doesn't really talk about them too much, so it's pretty easy for you to get your hands on one of these things for pretty cheap. If you go with like a dealership, yeah, you can look at spending like $15,000 to $20,000 because dealerships like to scam you, but just buy a used one. It's no big deal. For the reliability and the gas mileage, it's decently reliable. It's definitely not the best for an inline 4 though. There's definitely some complaints out there. We'll get into those obviously with the good, bad, and ugly, but it's decently reliable for a car. But again, it's not the best for an inline 4. If you're looking for a car with reliability, just get a Civic, man. Just why are you trying to change it up, you know? For the gas mileage, it is 20 miles per gallon combined. Not that good, but also not that bad. I mean, it's the thing is, like, that's not a bad gas mileage, but it is pretty bad for an inline 4. You know what I mean? Like a 20 mile per gallon combined gas mileage for an inline 4 isn't the best. All right, so now what do the community do with these puppies? What do they tend to modify them to be like when they modify them? First up, for drifting, obviously it's not seen in drifting because they're front wheel drive cars. That's duh. People aren't drifting front wheel drive cars, Jared. For rally / off-road builds, it's also not seen for obvious reasons. It's a front wheel drive commuter car with not the most power under the hood. Now, rally cross, maybe. I could kind of see that a little bit if you were crazy enough, but definitely not like actual rally racing, actual off-road overlandy stuff. It's just not built for that. For street racing, not really seen that often either because the car's not the best for making power, but at the same time, I mean, it's 2024, man. People turn any car into street racing monsters, so I could definitely see it. If you swap this with like an SRT Force motor, that would be a cool little street car. That'd be sick. For track racing, this is definitely its best area for sure. Like, I feel like if you're definitely going to go if you are going to see these cars anywhere, it's going to be at a track, but it's still not that great. Again, these cars are really just not the biggest community car. Like, people aren't modifying these things the most in the community. They're just not all over the place. But I definitely think if you go to like a racetrack, that's where you're going to see these cars the most. The last thing is stance / so builds. It's definitely modded quite a bit. There are people that are modify these cars for stance stuff, or they lower them and they put some body kits on them. They look aggressive from factory, right? They have that like aggressive look to them, and so it obviously invites some modifications to it. But unfortunately, because of that, a lot of the people that modify these things, man, have horrible taste, and they are modded very poorly, in my opinion. So just keep your eye out for those Dodge darts, because there's a lot of raced out ones. But now we are into the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the way this works, in case you're new here, is first I go over the good, which are things, they're kind of like selling points on the car, right? Things that are just great about it. You love them. They're great. You want to talk to your parents about it because they're gonna like it. Then the bad are not actually bad things. I want to make that crystal clear, because people get that so mixed up. They're just things that are neutral almost, right? They're right in the middle. If it matters to you, then it matters to you. If it doesn't matter to you, then it doesn't matter to you. And then the ugly are things that are actual problems with the car. For that, let's get right into the good though. First up is they are cheap as hell. These cars are dirt cheap. They don't even need to be reliable. They don't need to be fast, because the price point for them is incredibly low. That's a very good thing, obviously. Next is they come with a manual transmission in the 2010s. Gotta love it. You know, who doesn't love manual transmissions? Idiots. That's the only people that don't love manual transmissions, and these cars come with them, so I like that. Next is they're easy to work on, apparently. A lot of people have said that these cars are not that hard to work on. Decent engine space, the motor's pretty small. Gotta like that too. You're gonna need that, because these cars have some next up is the 2016 models, or the last year that they made them, are reliable. Now notice I mentioned 2016 models in particular, because there are some things on these cars that tend to go on the earlier models. But the 2016 ones are good, so if you're going to get one, get one of 2016. Next is the automatic transmission is finally not bad. Chrysler has had some bad freaking automatic transmissions in the past. Apparently the automatic transmission in this car isn't that awful, so that's kind of a good thing, I guess. I mean, it's just something that you expect out of an automatic transmission car, but when it comes to Chrysler, it makes you happy when their automatic transmissions aren't blowing up every single time. Next is the interior quality is surprising, to say the least. And now the reason why I say that is because it's not the best. You're not going to be sitting in a Mercedes, you're not sitting in a BMW, you're not sitting in a Audi, you're not sitting in a Tesla, you're sitting in a Dodge Dart, right? And so it's not going to be anything super fancy, but looking at it, and I mean, obviously I haven't been in one myself, I haven't been able to actually like test it myself, but seeing how it drives and stuff, like in a POV driving thing, I was surprised. It's a nice looking interior for its time. And finally, for the good, is they're lightweight cars, meaning they handle well. If you want like an autocross car that's newer, this is definitely not a bad option for you. It's got decent horsepower. If you get to 2.4, 184 is no joke. It's not that heavy, and it's a small wheelbase car. It's good for that. But now we're into the bad, and again, these are things that aren't actually necessarily bad. They're just things that you might want to take into consideration depending on the current situation that you're in, or what you're looking for, or whatever. First up is the sound. I always put the sound in the bad clips for all my good, bad, and uglies to let you decide 100%, because sound is obviously very subjective, or objective, whatever, you know what I mean. It's up to you. And so here's a clip. Next is the looks. Again, the looks are completely up to you. If you don't like it, then you don't like it. If you do like it, you do like it. I think more people, rather than not, are going to dislike the looks of this car. I do think that the majority of the car community does not like them. But at the same time, if you're not in the big car community, then this car definitely looks more sporty. It definitely looks better than something like just an average Corolla or Camry or something like that. It looks better than that. It's more sporty looking than that. So next is it does not have the most space out there. It's a compact car. You got to keep that in mind. If you're going to buy a compact car and you expect it to have a lot of space, you're an idiot. Next, it's kind of hard to find parts for these things. I was surprised. I was looking it up. They're not the cheapest parts out there, and you would expect them to be the cheapest parts out there, because they're, you know, just a front wheel drive inline four Dodge. But no, it's actually surprisingly hard. And I live in America. If you buy a Dodge Dart in like the UK, oh my. Next is it's front wheel drive only. It's obviously a selling point for people that like front wheel drive cars, but it's obviously a bad thing for people that don't like front wheel drive cars. Take your pick. Next is the community is very small. Do not expect to have like tons of people being like, hey man, I know exactly what to do and exactly how to fix that exact part on your car because I have the exact car with you. Hey, you want to trade hoods because I have the same color hood that you have and you have the same color hood that I have. Like, stuff like that's not not going to happen because the community is just a little too small. And leading into the next thing, actually, there's small aftermarket support. The aftermarket support for this car is not that crazy either because the community is so small. Obviously, if the community is higher, it gets more aftermarket support. If the community is smaller, it gets none. So don't expect to have like the craziest build out there. It's just not something like an S13. Next is the car is truly just not very fast. You can say what you want. People are going to get mad at me. Dodge Star owners are going to get mad at me for that one. It's like, dude, I put a freaking cold air intake and a straight pipe on my Dodge Star, and it's faster than Lambos now. Like, no, man, they're just not that fast. Not in a straight line, at least. Again, these things can handle pretty well because they are so light. But if you're thinking about like drag racing and stuff, definitely look into some other options. Next is when they came out, they were unreliable as hell. This leads back into what I was saying earlier with the 2016 models, 2015, 2014, and 2013 models. You got to be careful. They have some problems. Next is they have oil consumption issues. I mean, which car freaking doesn't? Honestly, that's not even a problem in my opinion. I've every single one of my cars have had oil consumption issues. Whatever. Next is ignition coils tend to give some issues. That is a problem. That is something you're gonna have to deal with. However, coil packs are like one of the easiest things in the world to replace. So, and they're not that expensive either. So I really don't see how that's the massive issue, but obviously keep your eye on it. And finally, for the bad, is the tuning potential is just not there. It's unfortunate because you want to be like, oh, well, it's an inline four that can be great, but it truly just it can't. It's going to be hard. Can it? I mean, obviously it technically can. You can make this thing into a monster if you really put a ton of money into. But is it just financially viable? No, not at all. There's so many better options out there for you if you just want a little four-banger, lightweight car that's making some insane power. That this is just a very out there choice for you. All right, but now we're into the ugly, and there's actually a decent amount. There's 3 things for the ugly, which is usually like 2. So this one has a little bit more than regular. First up is a big one, and apparently, according to Consumer Reports, the engine will randomly stall. That is weird. I don't know if the people that are driving these cars don't know how to drive with a clutch and they're stalling it and they're like, what is going on? And it's their fault 100%, or if they mean that the automatic ones are also stalling. And if that's the case, what's going on there, Dodge? It's obviously a big issue. Next is the turbo, and the turbo models tends to give a lot of issues. This is what I was talking about before with the thing like the Mini Cooper S. Like, yes, it sounds appealing on paper. A turbo model sounds appealing. It's an inline 4 turbo. Like, it's got to be reliable. Not when the freaking displacement is so small and it makes decent horsepower. If it makes decent horsepower with a small displacement but it has a turbocharger, that means that the turbo is doing a lot of work. And if it is, that puts a lot of pressure on that turbo, man, and it's going to give us some issues. And sure enough, this model does. Turbos are not cheap to replace. They're not easy to replace. It's not something you want to deal with. And finally, for the ugly, like I said, it's only 3, is it gets a lot of random electrical issues, which probably explains the random stalling if I do say so myself. But like the Bluetooth won't work, the batteries will drain, and just more radio stuff, the heat stuff, random electrical issues will occur with this car. Electrical issues are never fun. Take it from me. I had a 350Z with an electrical issue and it was a nightmare. So just if you're buying one, make sure that all the electricals work on it before you ride off a lot with it, because it might turn into a nightmare for you. And I know you're thinking like, oh well, I don't need, you know, the Bluetooth, I don't need AC, whatever. But what happens is those things are connected to the same ECU, and if they're all making some issues and the ECU's the issue, that's an expensive fix, and you won't be able to drive the car without it, obviously. So it's just, electrical issues are scary, even if it is something like just a window or motor or a freaking radio. So just be careful. But now my final thoughts. Let's quickly go over this because I gotta eat food, okay? All right, I gotta eat. I'm hungry. First up, a daily driver. If you're a daily driver, should you buy one of these things? Not a bad option, but there are definitely better ones out there. But again, it's as a daily driver, yeah, I would recommend it. If you are looking for a daily driver and you want this thing, go ahead. Be careful. They definitely have some issues, but it's not like, I don't think it's something that's so unreliable that it's unworthy of being a daily. As for a car guy daily, that's definitely a better option because car guys, they like to have cars that look sporty and be a little bit fun, but in return tend to have some reliability issues. Look at cars like the Integras or things like Civic SIs, like that. Those are car guy dailies, right? They're cars that are slightly more fun and good looking than a regular daily driver, but they might have a little bit more issues than a regular daily driver, and the Dodge Dart kind of fits that mold. As for the Sunday cruiser guys, the guys that are looking to buy these things and only drive them once a week out to their cars and coffee event, not the best. These cars are cheap for a reason. There's no need to keep them in the garage. They're not going to fly up in price or anything like that. They're not something super special. If you want like a Sunday driver, crazy little build or something, just buy like buy something that's a little bit more expensive, you know. As for the race car slash project car, guys, it would be sick, but I can't recommend it to anyone, unfortunately, because I would just be lying. There's not a lot of people build these things up to be little race cars, and there's obvious reasons for that. But if you want to be that guy and you want to turn something crazy that nobody's ever done before into a race car and have it be the Dodge Dart, just make sure you have some deep pockets. It's going to cost you a lot of money. People don't do that very often, but I support it because that's going to be really, really cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video of the good, the bad, and the ugly on the Dodge Dart GT. Let me know what other videos you'd like to see me do, cars you'd like to see me do a good, bad, and ugly on. That's usually how I get my good, bad, and uglies, is 100% through comments. So if you want to see a good, bad, and ugly, let me know, and I'll get to it. I'll get to it right on there. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I love each and every single one of you. I gotta go eat. Like I said, I'm literally starving Marvin. Like, my name is Marvin, and I am starving right now. So I'm gonna go upstairs, grab some grub, and come downstairs and probably turn on some SpongeBob. I have been watching the old seasons of SpongeBob. It's on Prime Video. Dude, call me a child all you want. It actually is that good. Like, I thought people were joking on TikTok and Instagram and all YouTube videos and stuff about people, like, hyping up the old TikTok. I thought it was just nostalgia talking, right? No, it is still good as an adult. Like, if you watch it nowadays, it's still that good. Also, my hair is being all weird. Hair sucks. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.